This is Smarter San Diego TV.
Our next guest is our go-to guy in Chula Vista. Please welcome back to the show, the breakdancing realtor, Anthony Manzon.
There he is, Tony Manzon. What's up, buddy?
What's up, Derek?
How you doing?
Thanks for having me.
Great to have you here. Today, I think we should talk about open houses because you're like the king of open houses, Mr. Mega Open House.
That's me.
But in a hot market, you know, homeowners, I talk to them all the time, and sometimes they don't think an open house is necessary. They're actually starting to get to the point where some people are saying, is a realtor even necessary, right?
Yeah.
We're starting to hear things like this,
Yeah.
Which tells us that the market's hot. Maybe it's too hot. That's another conversation. But in this particular market right now, especially in your area of Chula Vista, does it still make sense to do open houses?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. And, you know, the past 3 sellers I've talked to, actually all of them have brought this up. Like, the market's so hot, why do we even need to do open houses? And to me, I feel like the open house is a very important part of the selling process. It's kind of like the rite of passage for the house. You know, it's kind of like the closing of one chapter and opening of the next one. So the grand opening open house is kind of like the introduction back into the market. It gives that fresh new feel. It gets the whole neighborhood energized about their house coming back on the market. It gives everyone in the neighborhood the chance to say, you know what, a new house is on the market in my neighborhood. I always had my cousin that's interested, who's looking to buy a house. I want them to live right across the street from me. Or their friend or family or coworker that wants to live in that neighborhood. It gives them the chance to say, you know what, there's a grand opening this weekend. It's going to look great. It's going to sell fast. Come see the house. And so, you know, the open house is like that rite of passage. The house gives off a good energy. It's like, I'm fresh, I'm back, let's do this, you know? So,
Ready for new owners.
yeah, ready for new owners.
So, I mean, well, you guys put a lot of effort into these open houses, though. I mean, and I think that's a big part of why people should use you in Chula Vista to sell their home, because you do put a lot of effort into these open houses. But how do you sort of combat the question of, is it necessary? In other words, is it going to make a difference? Are we going to sell this house for more money if we do the Mega Open House with Team Manzon?
Yeah, great question. I'm glad you brought that up because we actually ran the statistics, actually our own Team Manzon statistics last week on what our average sales to list price. And actually, I was pretty surprised at that. I know my numbers, but I was surprised at the results. So the average realtor in Chula Vista is selling properties at 98% of list price. So if they're listing, let's say at $500,000, they're selling at $490,000. Well, the Team Manzon stats came out last week, and we're at 101.5. So consistently, every single property we sold from January to now, we're selling at 1% higher than list price, and we have done a mega open house for each and every single one. So, I mean, the numbers don't lie. The open houses do work. I mean, we're getting 3% higher for the sale of our properties just because of all the preparation we do into putting on a great grand opening for the house.
Do you think, and those numbers just tell the story right there, I mean, 3%, that's a lot of money.
That's a lot for, like, the average house in Chula Vista is, let's say, $500,000. That's $15,000 more in your pocket right there.
Yeah, and the thing is, it doesn't cost people anymore. I mean, you handle all of the costs associated with marketing the open house and doing the open house, so I don't know why you wouldn't want to, but let's just say, for whatever reason, you have your pet snake collection or whatever it is. What if someone says, I don't want to do an open house? How much would that hurt them in this marketplace?
You know, by not having an open house, it really creates more stress for the seller, I believe. Because if you don't have one big day where you can get everyone in at the same time, create that energy, create that buzz, get everyone in, and see their competition, the seller ends up having to show the property more than one time, maybe per day. You know, if you don't have a grand opening day, maybe you'll get 3 calls one day and say, hey, can I show it at 1 o'clock? Can I show it at 4:30? And can I show it at 7? Well, guess who has to be out of the house? Keep it clean, make sure all the dishes are washed, take the dogs out, walk the snakes for those 3 times that one day. You know what I mean? And then the next day, let's say none of them want to put in the offer. Let's say another 3 people want to show. You know, in essence, you can knock that all out in one big weekend, let's say Saturday and Sunday for 3 hours. That's, you know, 6 hours of open house time. Whereas, you know, 3 hours one day, 3 hours the next day, 3 hours the next day until you get the right offer, you know.
I'm just picturing you walking the snakes for your homeowners, for your home sellers, just walking the snakes down
I would do that. You just get a
the
harness.
sidewalks at Chula Vista.
I would do that if they asked us to. I mean, for our sellers, so one thing that's kind of cool, I don't know, I mean, my sellers really appreciate it. I never thought about it much, but when we do our grand opening open houses, we always surprise our family with movie tickets for the whole family to go to a movie. Because it covers the whole day. It's like 3 hours, we're in there, 3 hours they go watch a movie. They kind of don't know what to do anyways. They're like, well, I was just going to go to the park, and we just give them movie tickets, and they go watch a movie.
So what you're saying is that it's not only efficient from a just a return on investment standpoint. In other words, you're going to get your money back out of doing this thing.
Yeah.
But it's also time efficient from the standpoint of just interrupting your daily life.
Yeah.
Especially in a hot market. I mean, when some of these homes go on the market, there could be 10, 12 people who want to see the place, right?
Yeah.
So if you have to accommodate each one of those individual requests, that could be really bothersome to your just daily life.
Yeah, and in addition, when you get everyone in the house at the same time, they see their competition, they're more emotionally invested, they know what there is competition. Because let's face it, when you see a house, you like it, but you're the only one in there, you kind of feel already like, well, maybe if I come in a little bit under asking price, maybe they'll consider it. But when you see like 3 other families and they're like pointing at stuff and smiling, you're like, dang, I want this house. Let's pay a little bit more. They're more emotionally invested. They see their competition, and maybe that's what resulted in our, 101% of list price.
Yeah, that's really impressive stuff, man. I hope you
Thank
guys
you.
can keep that up because that's hard to do.
It is, and for last year, for all of 2015, we were at 101.2%, and then from January to now, we're like at 101.5. So in the past year and a half, every single home sale we did was above 100,000. I mean, over 100%.
Over 100% of list
Yeah.
price, which is one of the key statistics I think people should really look at when they are considering who to hire as an agent, because you have a lot of agents out there who are 95, 96, 97% of list price, which means that they don't know exactly where to list the homes, right, for the most part. And maybe they don't really have a good marketing plan behind it. The thing that I like about your mega open house is that you really commit. You're really committing to a strategy. And the strategy is get everybody who wants to see this thing here at the same time so that there is a competitive environment, so that there is an aura in the air of that this house is going to sell.
Yeah.
If you want to buy it, you better get your pencil out and get moving on your contract.
Yeah.
Because someone's going to write an offer on this property today. Maybe multiple people. I think that's important. Just like when you're buying anything. I mean, if you go to an auction, let's say, and you're going to buy an item, there's inherently a sense of that there are a lot of people who might want to buy this.
Yeah.
The difference with real estate is that you're not going to get to see what other people are bidding.
Yeah, exactly. You kind of just have to guess. You have to guess, or I always tell my client, if we're representing the buyer on a purchase of a property, is put in the offer at the price you value the home and at which you do not want to lose the house. Like, let's say for instance there was a house that's $500,000, and I said, let's say you put in your offer at $500,000, but you found out you didn't get the house, and the person that won was $501. Would that hurt you in your heart at night? Would it kill you? And would you say to yourself, I totally would have paid $501? If you totally would have paid it, in this market, now's not the time to gamble over $1,000. Like, if you want the house, sometimes you got to pay a little bit more.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, it's just a reality of what we've got because there's just not enough homes being built to satisfy the demand. Even down in Chula Vista, where there is some new construction that's slated, there's some new construction that's happening. We still have inventory shortages. We still have a lot of people wanting to go down there because it's brand new, because of the schools, because of all the cool things that are happening. So I think I think it's important for home sellers to definitely know that an open house makes sense.
Yeah.
And the Team Manzon Mega Open House has proven itself statistically to get people more money. So it's the
Why not?
obvious choice. It's
Yeah.
the obvious choice. Now I have seen, what do you think about this? But are multiple open houses a good idea, or is it better to commit to just one day and one time?
Yeah, that's a great question, and the way we focus our open house is on one big day, which is our grand opening weekend. Honestly, of the homes that we've sold, I would say 7 out of 8 sell the first weekend. So we always commit and go all out for that first weekend because they most likely will sell in that first weekend if it's priced right, if the condition's great. It's a team effort. The seller's working hard to make sure the home looks great. We're working hard to make sure we have a good turnout. We do as many open houses as we need to until the home sells. But most of the time, we're always selling it the first weekend. So we have the plan in place for either way.
Okay, so commit to one, stick with that. If it doesn't work for whatever reason, do another one.
Yep, we just keep going till the house sells.
Okay.
So,
all right, that makes sense. Because I know sometimes people are thinking, well, what if people aren't available on Saturday morning or Sunday morning or whatever? Should we do one on Wednesday too? How many open houses should we do? What I understand from what you're saying is that you don't want people to think that they can come see this house anytime they want.
yeah, exactly. That's what you don't want them to feel like. You want them to feel like, oh, there's so many people going to be there this day. I have the perfect client for it that needs to see it, so they need to come in this day. And what we do too is we always say, let's say for instance, mega open house July 1st. We will be reviewing all offers July 4th. So that the agents can see, okay, so this really is the grand opening weekend. We're reviewing offers July 4th, and hey, it's resulted in good statistics so far.
Absolutely. Congratulations on that, my friend.
Thank
Continue
you.
doing an amazing job. We appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Anthony Manzon, Team Manzon. Stick around for more Smarter San Diego TV, where we guarantee to make you smarter than everyone else, commercial free.